for coming. Just wanted to give you a little background. Um, ICCR does a lot of activities every year, and you can see from our annual reports that even during times of COVID, we did a large number of activities. And across the world, if you look at it, we did almost about 500 to 600 activities last year. Many of it online, but many of it on site also. Because what we used is whatever time we got in between, whenever COVID gave us some time to travel or to do any programs, we did a large number of programs. We've been doing the same since this year, since April when the second wave hit us, and we found it really difficult to do any programming. But we did a lot of online programming. We have started also the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, which is so in that I can tell you that in the last 3 months, since we started in March till now, I mean 5 months, our missions and us together have done more than 2,000 programs. So what our idea was to have this regular interaction with you, because large number of people do not know about what ICCR is doing, because we also to a large extent are to blame that we haven't reached out to you. We will do it as a monthly thing, or even if it's earlier. We'll also get some press meets together, because we need to get to know you. You need to get to know us, so that if there is anything, we can talk to each other. So this will be part of that. So today, what we are doing is President ICCR will speak to you about some of the programming that we have coming up in future. But this is also an open forum for you to ask questions about ICCR, what we are doing. Before that, just to give you, ICCR has two basic strands. One is the cultural programming, which is we do music, dance, art, theater, participate in festivals, send troops abroad, get foreign troops into India, do festivals. So we do all the large jazz festivals, Ramayana festival, all kinds of cultural programming. That is one part which everybody knows about ICCR. But the other part, which is the most important part of ICCR, is the academic programming. We give the largest number of scholarships in India. We give almost 3,000 plus scholarships every year. And at any given time, there are about 7,000 foreign students studying in India on ICCR scholarships. More than that, we also have a large number of conferences and seminars we do. We have ICCR chairs abroad which teach from Hindi to Sanskrit to Indian studies. So we have at given time about 70 odd professors that we send abroad at any given time. But this year, because of COVID, it's come down to about 25, because large number of universities are not having on-site classes. So, the professors do not. So we have a large academic profile. On top of that, we do distinguished visitors program. So we get top visitors from across the world. Just to give you a background, all the top names that you know in the world, from Nelson Mandela to Kenneth Kaunda to all the top leaders, became an ICCR visitor before they became big leaders in their own country. So we've got this whole idea of mapping out, seeing who are important people across the world, whom we can call, who will become important. So this is just to give you a brief background of what ICCR does, but also to tell you to be in touch with us regularly, because we have a lot amount of programming that we do. Please follow us on social media also. We're quite active on social media, and we will let you know. But I won't tell more. I will leave it to President ICCR to speak. But any questions after that will be open house. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. As was explained by our DG, I'm here basically to share with you some of the programs that we have lined up for the next month or two. But before I do that, let me tell you, because there was a reference in DG's remarks about the programs that we conducted during the pandemic times. Many of our press persons also are not aware that while we host close to 3,000, 4,000 students every year, foreign students I'm talking about, we have some 15 centers to take care of them at various places, including, let's say, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and at various places. So at these centers, basically to orient the foreign students to Indian culture, we keep on organizing what is known as Horizon series of programs. So some program which will help them understand Indian culture, maybe through dance, music, or any similar such thing. During the pandemic times, when, although it is not a part of ICCR agenda as such, but when we realized and we were approached by many of the artist community that it's very difficult for us to, in a way, survive as well, because there are no opportunities, there are no shows, there are no events happening. So, in order to, in a way, extend our helping hand to them, and especially to those who are the folk artists, basically, because they are facing the difficulties which are graver than anybody else. And therefore, to help them, we started a Kala Vishwa series of programs under which people are airing whatever their performance through Zoom or maybe a similar such platform, and students are participating in that and getting to know about the nuances of Indian art and culture. And more than 150 such programs have happened. Thereby, we have been able to reach out to the folk artists who are really facing uh, various difficulties due to the pandemic times. So that is about the events that we conducted during the last May, June, July, and even now they are continuing. But insofar as our future events are concerned, one important announcement which we would like to make and reach out to the public at large through you is about the institution of the award for promotion of Buddhist studies. Uh, because, as we are all aware, that India has been one of the important centers of Buddhist studies, and we have been attracting for several decades global academic leadership insofar as the discipline of Buddhist studies is concerned. But as we also have started recognizing scholars in Sanskrit and Indology for the last 5, 6 years, we have been giving awards to eminent Sanskrit scholar or eminent scholar in Indology, foreigners, of course. Similarly, we have now decided to have an award for promotion of Buddhist studies. So, some eminent scholar from Buddhist studies discipline will be given this award. The award shall comprise a cash reward of US $20,000, a plaque, and a gold-plated medal. If there is more than one awardee, normally ऐसा होता नहीं, मगर ऐसा होता है तो उसको हम share करके देंगे. The award is part of the comprehensive and consolidated action plan for activities related to Buddhism, in line with realizing the vision of Honorable Prime Minister for revival of India as a global center for Buddhism and related activities, including tourism, of course. We are planning to give the first Buddhist award during the International Buddhist Conclave Global Buddhist Conference, which we have planned for November 2021. Uh, I don't think I need to go into the technical details of the award, but let me share with you some of the details of the Global Buddhist Conference, which is also happening for the first time. So, this is a new initiative, which is why we wanted you to cover it or focus on it. ICCR connects India and international academia through its conferences, as I mentioned. We also conduct a conference on Indology every year. And in tune with that, we are also now, we have decided to have a conference on Buddhist studies every year. Taking further this mandate given by the Honorable Prime Minister of India of the revival of India as a global center of Buddhist culture and activities related to Buddhist culture, leveraging Buddhist linkages with ASEAN and East Asian countries, ICCR has planned to launch the first edition of the Global Buddhist Conference in November 2021, GBC at what we call it. And the theme this year is going to be Buddhism in Literature. This Global Buddhist Conference will be organized under the overall framework of the flagship event of the Ministry of Tourism. This again, let me mention over here that during the last 3, 4 years, we have been trying to coordinate our activities more proactively with various ministries, because soft power, as what we call, or cultural relationship, is not a subject about which we can only have a linear thinking. It is connected with various other departments also, whether it is National Book Trust, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Culture, of course, along with that, Ministry of Tourism as well, uh, also Ministry of Commerce for that matter. And therefore, we on our own are trying to kind of connect with all these. A couple of years back, in fact, we requested Niti Aayog, and they also accepted our request. And we conducted some brainstorming sessions on centrality of cultural relationship as well, for, of course, the vibrancy of our diplomatic, strategic, and uh, economic relations. So, on the background of this, we are coordinating with Ministry of Tourism insofar as this Buddhism-related event is concerned, and therefore this International Buddhist Conclave 2021 will be held at Navanalanda Mahavihar, an International Buddhist Confederation. The GBC is scheduled to be held at the campus of Navanalanda on 19th and 20th November, and will form a part of the 70th Foundation Day celebrations of the Navanalanda Mahavihar. Eminent scholars are going to attend. We have already started preparing for it. And before this conference takes place, uh, in the run up to the GBC, our regional conferences in India are also going to happen. One at Sarnath, one at Gangatok, and one at Dharamshala as well. And in abroad also, in other countries, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, and Cambodia, we are organizing with the help of our missions and our centers over there similar kinds of conferences. The delegates of the IBC, some 150, 200 delegates are likely to come, and they will be taking part in inaugural ceremony also. So it will be kind of a hybrid thing. Most of them will be coming in person, but if the pandemic situation aggravates in countries, then that option also will be made available to them. So these are the two things. Firstly, I just would like to bring to your notice. The third important thing is that the 15th of December happens to be the World Democracy Day, as 15th of September happens to be the World Democracy Day, and that is tomorrow. So we have organized a international online conference on Independent India at 75, Democratic Traditions. This is a part of the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, and there are going to be speakers from abroad as well. For example, Mr. Julian Lesser, Member of Parliament from New South Wales, Australia, is going to be one of the speakers. Former ambassador of Mongolia in India, Gonching Ganbold, is also going to be one of the speakers. Professor Egosa A. Osaghae, who is the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, he will be one of the speakers. Another one will be Swaminathan Gurumurthy, noted columnist from Chennai. And the theme of the first panel will be philosophy of Indian democratic traditions, because we know democracy is a part of our traditions, and therefore on that this first session will be basically deliberating. The second session will be on democracy in practice, wherein His Excellency Mr. Erik Solheim, former Minister of Environment and International Development of Norway, will be one of the speakers. Mr. Werner Mensky, Professor Emeritus of South Asian Laws at SOAS, University of London. And the third one will be Sri Swapan Das Gupta, member of the Rajya Sabha. So likewise, this particular event is also lined up. In fact, we have been discussing democracy in 2019 also. We had conducted delivering democracy seminars in more than 8 countries, because as we all know, democracy is also a part of Indian culture. Later on the 25th and 26th of September, we are also having what we call as Grit Fest. We know the Lit Fest, but this is a Grit Fest, wherein we will be talking about India's resolve to fight against COVID and what all we have done. So we are doing this in collaboration with the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, and it will happen on 25th and 26th. In uh, in line with all these other events, let me also share that we are going to be one of the participants in the Dubai Expo, which starts on the 1st of October. And yeah. Again, this is an example that how ICCR is proactively trying to collaborate with, this time, of course, Ministry of Commerce here, but even the Minister of Culture had been here, and we had conducted a session here about how do we present India at this very prominent international event. And we have already lined up several cultural troops that would be visiting Dubai. Uh, and we will be very actively taking part in this Dubai exposition. So these are some of the salient features of the agenda that we are working on. But essentially, we wanted to highlight the institution of the award for eminent scholar in Buddhist studies, and also an annual event which is going to be launched from this year, which is the International Buddhist Conclave or Buddhist Studies Conclave, let us put it that way. These are the initial things I just wanted to share with you. You may ask questions. Along with me, our DG and our two Deputy Director Generals, Sri Rajiv Kumar and Chinmay Naik, they will also respond to the relevant questions. So the floor is yours. Well, Buddhist scholars are Buddhist scholars from whatever the country they are. If they have their own standing as a scholar, naturally they can register or they could be invited. Nothing prohibits us from doing. Yeah, one of our pre-conferences is in fact happening at Dharamshala, which is the. Yeah, of course, of course. No, no. See, we are not inviting delegations from countries. Like any other conference, it's an open thing. If some Buddhist scholar, maybe from some area in China, wants to register himself or herself, as simple as that. We don't mind anybody coming from anywhere. At this juncture, of course not. At this juncture, we don't have any plan to.
This, if I may say, is an academic conference. It's not a political conference. It's an academic conference. The whole idea was that when you want to make Buddhism India a center for Buddhism, what do? It is not just about tourism. It is about making center for Buddhist activities. So what are the Buddhist activities you can do? You do academic activities, you do cultural activities, you do Buddhism seminars, talks, you have people traveling, coming for different festivals, which is for the Buddha Purnima, for the Vesak festival, for others. So this is an entire game plan to have all Buddhist festivals, all Buddhist academic conferences, Buddhist manuscripts. We are going to have a manuscript depository. So anything to do with Buddhism, people should turn and look at India and say, this is the place where Buddhism is being discussed, is being celebrated, is being done. Like we celebrate the big festivals in India. Same way we'll be celebrating the big festivals. Like we do academic conferences on different things, we'll be doing academic conferences. So this whole idea is that.
Let me add that last year, maybe media did cover it perhaps, but maybe all of you are aware that the Indira Gandhi National Center also has a very good archival collection of what they call as kanjurs, which are kind of manuscripts, basically from Mongolia. Yeah. So that a compilation of certain kanjurs was released by Honorable President of India. In that program also, ICCR was a participant. And therefore, this is an ongoing process. We are just taking it to a new stage, kind of.
Also एक बात मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे students from all this country come to study Buddhism. So we have 16 Buddhist institutes across the country, from Arunachal Pradesh to Leh Ladakh to Sarnath to everywhere. And all of them, including the new Nalanda Institute, we have Buddhist students coming in from outside. So the whole idea was for ICCR to work on making sure that all Buddhist activities take place. And this activity is why we are doing it with Ministry of Tourism is when you have Buddhist activities and people come for the activities, they also want to go and visit the different places. So tourism increases. So it's a win-win situation. And this is what President has been telling, that we have been trying to work with different ministries to have coordination rather than have duplication of effort where tourism is doing something, we are doing something, commerce is doing something. In that same line, we're doing Dubai Expo. Never before has ICCR been part of the planning committee for Expo. It is always DPIIT. But this time for everything, all the cultural programming, all the academic programming. There'll be talks, there'll be seminars, there'll be different issues. We are participating in all those. So this is part of our way of when you identify soft power, like President said, when you identify soft power, you are looking at all aspects of soft power. And if ICCR is not involved with the different ministries in those, and each of us are doing separately, it makes no sense. If the literature on Bamiyan is discussed during the Buddhism on literature on the conferences, this is something which can be discussed. See, an academic conference can discuss anything. So the whole idea is every year to do a academic conference in which we will also choose the best scholar or a person contributing to academic studies in Buddhism who will be given a Buddhism award. So the
I think perhaps 4 or 5 years, very proactively, you are doing a lot of jobs, which is very good. Now, I see with the brief, I represent Abu Dhabi media. That's why I'm just working out on that. I see that there are only cultural truths in this brief. Uh, there, it doesn't contain any academic program or, these seminars or conferences. Do you plan, because a number of countries are participating in Dubai Expo with seminars from their own countries? That is one. Second thing, Dubai is also, or UAE is also a issue where the people who are visiting Dubai Expo can go to the countries who have participated in Dubai Expo and present and see with their own eyes what all is happening. So is there any bilateral kind of a plan that, some seminar or conference, and by the way, it's an Arabic language country. So do we have planned some people from here to go and present India's, say, pluralism, or in the contemporary times, what all is happening in our neighborhood, to show that how we Indians are doing it. And from their side also, they can come here and they can present, their own viewpoint on their pluralism, which they are following nowadays proactively. Any such plan?
So let me tell you, this is a programming which is always done by the DPIIT, which is the Department of Industrial Promotion and the Ministry of Commerce. So the whole idea of Expo, Dubai Expo, is that you have basically commercial dealings, technology, latest IT promotion. So it used to be always on about technology, business, economy. This is what Dubai Expo was all about. We have come in for the first time because they realize that all these go with culture and academia. So the programming is something that we are trying to change. So what you're saying is correct. What we have given you in the brief is about our cultural programming that we are doing, which will be very big because there are 190 countries. Everybody does programming every day. If we do every day, then it will become a problem because nobody will have the bandwidth to watch. But on academic program, what we are doing is we are having a festival of ideas, basically trying to put together a program which will run through the 6 months that the Dubai Festival goes, in which people talk about the different ideas that make up India. So, what are the different ideas? What is happening in biotechnology? What is happening in electric vehicles? What is happening in space? What is happening in literature? What is happening in culture? What is so the difference? So, this whole idea is to do a festival of ideas which runs through the whole programming, where you discuss these things with important people who will go and talk in Dubai Expo to the people who are there and to the viewers back here in India. So right now, this is it. Bilaterally, what you're talking about with UAE, that we are working separately, is to get ideas of people from Dubai, people coming, I mean, from UAE coming here and us going. That we are doing separately. In fact, we've just set up for the first time ever a chair of Indian studies in UAE for us to teach Indian studies in one of the top universities, which is the New York University. But the New York University in Dubai is an independent unit. It's not a, so we are setting it up in the New York University. Similarly, we will do a lot of seminars. Our president himself will be traveling also. He will meet a lot of academicians, people who have contributed to studies in India. Our whole idea is to have an efflorescence of Indian studies across the world. And Dubai Expo is a place where the world will come. So if we show our capability there, they will recognize, and then we'll be able to do much more in one place. There's a
of this kind has been planned because as you may also make out that this is the first time that we are going to have this conference, and that too in collaboration with Now Nalanda and similar such academic institutions. So it will be an academic conference. We have been conducting conferences on Indology as well. We never invited any political leaders, quote unquote, for such conferences. Nothing prohibits us from doing that, but so far nothing of such thing is on cards, right?
the pre-conference will basically lead into the conference. Conference के papers चाहिए होते हैं. So during the pre-conferences, scholars will present papers on different issues relating to Buddhism and literature. So out of them will be selected the people who will come for the main conference. The pre-conference is a way of sorting.
Creating a buzz, थोड़ा सा उसका थोड़ा वातावरण भी बनना चाहिए ना. पहली बार अगर हम कर रहे हैं.
Uh, that is also part of this whole Buddhist thing we did. We presented the first ever Buddha statue to a temple in South Korea. Now, South Korean temples do not have statues of Buddha. They have the, how do you call it, the statues which are the Chinese origin statues. The first ever Indian. And what amazed most of the people in Korea was how peaceful and beautiful the Buddha statue looked. So there is a big demand for it. And
In fact, we did a similar thing to Bhutan.
in fact, after we went to Korea, we came back. The Bhutanese government, when they saw Korea getting one, they asked us that if you are giving to Korea, why are you not giving to us, Bhutan? So we sent to Bhutan. Similarly, we'll be doing it with other Buddhist countries. But our whole idea is to make India a place where all Buddhist academicians, scholars, practitioners, monks, everybody look to us as a place where you have to go for getting anything. So training of Buddhist monks, manuscripts, so putting all the Buddhist manuscripts together in one place. So all these things are part of the activity we are planning to do.
To cut the long story short, Buddhism is an essential ingredient of the idea of India. And therefore, the predominance of India in the idea of Buddhism and predominance of Buddhism in the idea of India, I believe, is being underscored in an academic fashion. That's it.
I think they've got some gift